episode 146 in the actor's room. My name's Jeff Tarowski, and this episode, we highlight Nicolas Coppola. Here we go.
Why did Nicolas Cage change his name? I changed my name because I was doing a little movie called Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and I was still Nicolas Coppola, and people would not stop saying things like, I love the smell of Nicolas in the morning because of Apocalypse Now, and Robert Duvall saying, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, and it made it hard to work, and I decided, I don't need this. So I changed it to Cage. It's a combination of Luke Cage from Marvel Comics, it was a character I liked, also named Power Man, and John Cage, the avant-garde composer. Speaks volumes about everything I've been up to ever since.
There you go. For those of you who don't know, and I'm sure most of you do, Nicolas Cage is a Coppola, a family deep-rooted in the business. Francis Ford Coppola is his uncle. Talia Shire, Adrian from Rocky, is his aunt because Talia and Francis are brother and sister. His father, August, is brothers with Francis. And Francis and August were very close. Francis has said he considers August, the star of the family. Nicholas's father was a composer and a teacher, and Francis thought the world of him. Nicolas Cage / Coppola has said that he would spend a lot of time with Francis and his family. Nicolas was close to his cousins, going and living with Francis all summer in California, soaking up the sun, and would remark how great of a guy his uncle is, Francis. Other relatives of Nicolas Cage / Coppola, a cousin, director, Roman Coppola, and of course you have Francis's daughter, Sofia Coppola, film producer Giancarlo Coppola, and actors Robert and Jason Schwartzman. And I like Jason Schwartzman. Got it. He's the son of Talia Shire. So that would be Nicholas's second cousin. I think that sounds about right. So there you go. It's pretty safe to say that Nicholas is surrounded by art. He's surrounded by talent. His family is loaded with it. And Nicolas Cage is a very talented, he's a creative actor. He likes to play. He will go very out there. And these are the actors I love and I talk about on my show. The ones that go the extra mile and a half to get a character and trying something new. And if you notice, in a lot of Nicolas Cage roles, you see that. There's something weird about Nicolas Cage. And he sort of rubs people the wrong way because of his weirdness. I think there are a lot of people who will critique film, critique performances, and frown upon Nicolas Cage. And there have been actresses and actors alike that have worked with Cage in the past that feel the same way. The choices that he's made in his characters will rub actors the wrong way, wondering, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? He's different. And that's what I like about Nicolas Cage. Hence, strike that. I take that back. That's what I love about Nicolas Cage. And I want to call him Coppola so bad. He changed his name because he wanted to make it on his own, shedding the Coppola name. But did that really happen? And I want to investigate that in my show. And I may want to bring that up later on and see what you think about it when we get to that section. But wanted to set up the Nicolas Cage episode by diving into his past with his family and how important that is. And if you listen to my show, I note that a lot. The fact that knowing people in the business before you dive in helps tremendously. And in Nicolas Cage, in his career, I mean, come on. It can't be denied. Nicolas Coppola was born January 7th, 1964 in Long Beach, California. His father, Augie, Italian, and his mother, Peggy? Let me make sure that's right. And I was wrong. Joy. His mom's name's Joy. Joy Vogelsang. She was a dancer and a choreographer. He was raised Catholic, and his mom was German and Polish, just like me. I'm German and Polish. Nick is the youngest of three boys. He has two older brothers, of course. One is a New York radio personality DJ. And I've heard that name bantered around a little bit. I listen to a lot of radio. And his name is Mark the Cope Coppola. And his other brother is a director. And his name's Christopher. And it seems that everybody in his family is in some way connected in the arts. And I'm thinking about that because there's always somebody that's like, a realtor or, I don't know, anything else, a doctor. But it seems to me everybody in this family is drawn to the arts. They can't help it, I guess. He went to Beverly Hills High School. I'm sure that was great, going to Beverly Hills High School, right by the beach. And I always find it interesting that California, well, let's put it this way. The part of California that's 70 degrees all the time, San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever, their high school had their lockers outside. That's how beautiful that area is. And I think of this, I'm from the Midwest. There are no lockers outside the building. They're all inside because, well, our weather here it's a bit soggy. But in Los Angeles, that part of the world, that part of the country, they can have lockers on the outside of their high schools. And I always found that fascinating. And when you watch movies about high school out there, you'll notice these outdoor lockers and outdoor cafeterias too. They're eating lunch outside. These things baffle me. I never had lunch outside. We were always inside eating that cardboard pizza. And because he went to Beverly Hills High, he, of course, is going to run in to some future actors. In his graduating class, one of his classmates, Crispin Glover. Crispin Glover comes up in my show often and was in the same class as Nicolas Coppola. And in the yearbook, which I found, you could see Crispin Glover in pictures on stage performing. And you can also see a young Nicolas Coppola acting in plays in high school in the yearbook. Fascinating. These youngins. And you think you're looking at these pictures and they're babies. But they're on stage doing it. Even then, dreaming about it. But you have to remember too, Crispin Glover, his father was an actor. He was in Chinatown. Crispin also had a bit of an edge among other students who may have wanted to been actors. Yet Nicolas Coppola, a Coppola, and you have Crispin Glover, son of an actor. Do they have an edge? You bet your ass they do. And in the future, you're going to see people like Nicolas Coppola and Crispin Glover doing projects together. No way, really? And wow, what a coincidence. No, it's not a coincidence. It can't be. It just can't be that easy. That you just happen. And I'm going to go ahead and just state this right now. You can tell by the way my voice is going that I think to myself, all of these struggling actors, all these hopeful wannabe professional actors, because that's the goal. If anybody with stars in their eyes or just wanting to work in the theater, ultimately you want to be able to make a living doing what you love. So if you're an actor that doesn't have to wait on tables and actually makes a living on stage or in front of the camera in some capacity, you made it. That's my opinion. You don't have to be a big star to make it as an actor. You just want to work. Make enough money so you don't have to wait on tables. You got a couple of agents in Los Angeles. You got some in New York, and you bounce around doing projects. It's a hectic life. You're constantly traveling. You're living out of a briefcase. Not a briefcase, but you're living out of a knapsack. Your luggage, whatever. Maybe even not even that. You got a couple of your favorite clothing, and then you just sort of pick up things along the way. And half the time, you're wearing costumes, being on stage or on a project. But my point, I know, got off topic there, but not really. My point is, I think of all of these hopefuls that would give their left nut just to get a chance, like that one look that a director may give you and go, they might be right for this role that will just open so many doors for them. They just want that chance. But they had these people like Nicolas Coppola and Crispin Glover that already have that door open for them already because they have contacts. And they have a tremendous advantage. Tremendous. Because they're already getting in that room. The actor's room. And if they're good enough, they'll stay. So that's something I want to point out on my show, and I do it often because I think it's important in a way, because there's a lot of actors out there, really successful ones, that are there because of their name and who they know. That's just reality, folks. And as much as I love Coppola, and I love most of them, if not all of them, it was just going to happen. When you think about it, if Nicolas Cage is driven enough in his young life, the chances of him making it are pretty good, if you think about it. And he made the best, and thankfully he did, because I enjoy his work. He made the best of his connections. So let's continue on. As I've gone, I'm just regurgitating information in my shows sometimes. It's like, how many times are you going to bring this stuff up? But I'm finding that a lot of these artists that I do love already have some sort of artistic history, either in their family or just people around them. I think that's so important too. You have to, most of the time, these brilliant artists are surrounded by brilliant minds, talents, and it helps in their progressions, in their art, to dazzle us, dazzle casting directors, really do something different. And that's what Nick does. So, we're brushing upon his early life, where he went to school, Beverly Hills High School. Didn't do much acting school. I think he did train, but not that much. Just a little. He didn't need to, folks. You didn't need to. I mean, the door, it's pretty open there. His uncle, he likes him. He likes his nephew. He likes Nick. Why wouldn't he, give him some good advice? How about you do this and that, and maybe I'll have you in my picture. Nick's got to be thinking about that. I mean, why not? I mean, August and Francis, brothers, they're close. His nephew, Nick, wants to be an actor. So the chances of Nick getting on the set is very high, and that's exactly what happens. But before we get into that, I want to mention that he's a senior in high school with Crispin Glover, doing work on the stage. And I'm thinking Beverly Hills High had a lot of productions going on. My high school, we just had 2 a year. We had a fall play and a spring musical. In places like Beverly Hills High School, in other top-notch artistic areas of the world, they do more than that. And I think at Beverly Hills High School, they had several productions. Well, Nicholas was in a few and had his eye on a part in West Side Story, I believe, at the high school. He didn't get a part. Or he didn't get the part he wanted and was slighted, pissed that he didn't get what he wanted. What was his response to that? Fuck you. Hey, the only reason why I'm in this school is to be in plays. And if I can't be in this play, I'm out. That's what he did. He left high school weeks before his graduation because he was pissed he didn't get a role. He wanted to be an actor so bad. He didn't want to waste a couple of weeks in high school. He wanted to start acting right away. Nicholas has said he watched East of Eden starring James Dean. And after that, he knew he was on the right path. That's what I want to do, Nick said. I want to be like James Dean. I felt the same way about Marlon Brando when I saw him in A Streetcar Named Desire in acting school in 1998. When I saw Marlon Brando, they showed us a screenshot, a scene from Streetcar in class of Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski. Blew me away. Never seen anything like it, and it signified everything that I would want to see in a performance. And Nicolas Cage felt the same way when he saw James Dean in East of Eden when he was younger. It stapled and cemented his wanting to be an actor. Nick's acting debut was on a TV miniseries / TV movie called The Best of Times in 1981. Guess who was in that production? Crispin Glover. No shit. I wonder what happened there. Did Crispin get Nick the role, or did Nick get Crispin the role, or did they just happen to run into each other at the audition and go, Nick, Crisp, wow, weird. Get the out of here. I saw this. I watched this 1981 TV miniseries. I think they wanted to make it into a sitcom originally. And it was about an hour and a half. So, yeah, I know that pilots can be really long, which means the producers want to give a good example of the show because a sitcom's a half hour. This was like an hour. And it's really corny, hokey. It's outlandish and just silly. The Best of Times. You could watch it. You can find this. This is Nicolas Cage's debut. Coppola's debut. Not Cage just yet. And you could see a young Crispin Glover too, if you're interested. So in the very next year, things are just moving fast for Nick. Why not? Because boom, 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 boom. You're going to get stuff. And in the next year, he gets Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Audition for most of the male characters, especially Judge Reinhold's character. That's what Nick had his eye on. That's the main character, pretty much. It's an ensemble cast, but Judge's character was definitely one of the leads. And Nick had his eye on it. Auditioned for it. And pled with the casting director. This is for me. You know this. This is me. This is great, right? Huh? And they said, no. And Nick said, come on. This is a great audition. He's begging to get work. This is how much he wanted it. He even lied about his age. I guess he had to be 18, right, to get like a certain role in this. Didn't know they had these barriers back then, but he lied about his age to get that role. And they found out about it, and he was disqualified immediately and got a small role. If you notice, he's flipping burgers. I don't even think he has a line, but he's there. And what's really significant about this movie and Nicolas Cage, or Coppola, not Cage yet. It's this movie. He decides to change his name for good. He's sick and tired of being picked on, I guess. Was he picked on, though? You heard that clip. You heard that clip in the beginning. I burped there. I apologize. I've been doing really good, folks. This has been a year because of my health. I'm getting better. I'm feeling better. I had some work done on my teeth. It's just sort of happening that way. I get one thing taken care of, and now I have to take care of my teeth. I had to get a crown put on. I got the temp on. It's fallen off already, so I had to go back and get another one. My tooth fucking hurts, man. And I'm doing the best I can. But I did burp, because I'm guzzling water here. I have that tooth pain where it just radiates. And it's been doing good all day. All day it's been really good. And then all of a sudden it's acting up. But we're going to get this tooth thing figured out. And I want to do more shows. But in the meantime, I'm going to bear down. And I'm going to try to get through this. I don't even know where I was. I was talking about Fast Times. Nicolas Cage, right? He's not Cage yet. He's still Coppola. They're all picking on him. Oh, I love the smell of Nicolas in the morning. What's that? Is that the best they could do? Is I love the smell of Nicolas in the morning? That's not very funny. Who was doing this? Sean Penn? Was Eric Stoltz making fun of... And that's another one, too, Eric Stoltz. He's another... He was hanging around all those people. They all were L.A. kids trying to make it, you know. But anyways, because I would... see pictures of Eric Stoltz, Crispin Glover, and all these other young, hopeful actors that got roles hanging out together. And I get it, they probably ran into each other at parties and stuff, but these look like intimate get-togethers where these guys, before they were famous, folks, knew each other. I know how hard it is to make it as an actor, and it just pisses me off. The whole thing. Maybe we should just make it that Jeff wants to just spout off how pissed he is that all these actors, right, just because they knew each other, got these roles. But no, these are talented people. Eric Stoltz is very talented. So I don't want to take anything away from him. I just wanted to point out, though, how it's just regurgitated. These people, when they work together. Sean Penn, Eric Stoltz, Judge Reinhold, Nicolas Coppola. They all just sort of, run into each other in film, on stage. So what are the chances? But anyways, they're making fun of poor Nick and his name. So, yeah, good one, Sean. And hurt my feelings. I'm going to change my name. And you got Sean Penn, also nepotism. His dad was a director. Sean Penn's dad was a director. There you go. I could go on and on. But thankfully, Sean Penn is one of the most talented actors I've ever seen. So, obviously, the talent doesn't fall far from the tree. So... Cage decides to change his name. I'll say that again. Coppola decides to change his name. Getting picked on relentlessly on Fast Times is just too much for him. Plus, he wants to make it on his own, right? I'm going to change my name. No one's going to know who I am. And I'm going to get a role. And that's what he does. Valley Girl. He gets... with Nicolas Cage. as his name. And he says he got it on his own. But did he? Folks, I find that hard to believe. I just do. Just because he changed his name, right? People didn't know who he was in the business. They knew who he was. He just changed his name because he wanted to be different. He didn't want to be a Coppola anymore. And I think he was flattered that his uncle would consider him for stuff because Nick was on set during the making of The Outsiders. That's a Ford Coppola film. And he would screen test. Matt Dillon, Mickey Rourke auditioned for The Outsiders. Ralph Macchio, Tommy Howell. Nick Cage was there, reading with him, getting experience because he knew Francis. And because of that, got a very small role. But he's there, making connections. You're telling me the people that worked in Valley Girl didn't know who he was? They did. But it doesn't mean that just because people knew who he was, that it didn't guarantee him the role. That's the point I want to make right now. My beef isn't with Nick getting the role. That's not my beef. It's him stepping in front of how many other people, just because they don't have an in like he does. That's my beef. That people are getting a better look at you. That's true. And some schlep like me, from some suburb in Cleveland that nobody knows. I didn't know a fucking person. When I went to New York, nobody. Nada. For a very short time, I took on a stage name just like Nick did. I changed my name for like 2 years because I felt Tarowski wouldn't have been marketable. I wanted to do something short and sweet. It was a family name too. So I had my mom's side of the family, artistic, and their last name was Falk. So I picked that. And I went into an audition one time, about to read my lines, and the casting director's like, "Oh, Jeff Falk, any relation to Peter?" And God, did I make a mistake. I should have went, "Yeah, he's my great-grandfather." No, that's too old. But I should have said, "Yeah, he's an uncle, twice removed," or something. Or he's my grandfather's brother. What does that make him? I don't know. But I should have done that. When "Oh, yeah, I just talked to him. I just got off the phone with him. He wished me good luck in the audition. Instead, he wished he could have been here." Damn. But that was just a coincidence. But they asked that. They go, "Interesting, in relation to Peter." And I should have said yes. I said, no. My real name's Tarowski. Hi, how are you? But I mean, you do these things to put yourself a little closer to your goal. I felt in 1993 that changing my name would have gave me a leg up. You're willing to do anything, right? Selling your soul in a way, a little piece of your soul to get just a little closer to that role. You want any advantage possible. Should I audition first? Should I audition last? Maybe right in the middle. I auditioned recently for a musical last year. First time I auditioned in 2 decades. And I thought I was ready. I went up there to the theater. I was in New York again. I was just like, it's just an audition. Whatever. I walk in, I'm like, sign my name, blah, blah, blah. I filled out the paperwork. I got my music. And I'm just sitting there going, I'm just going to blow everybody away. Right? And I get into the theater, and they have this audition where everybody's in the theater together. In New York, you audition, it's just you and the casting director, maybe a couple other people, and that's it. Well, in this setting, everybody that was auditioning was in the theater. They're all just sitting there. And I'm like, this is how we're going to audition in front of everybody? What the fuck is this? And all of a sudden, boom, I was off my game. I was fucking like in another, it just went from sky high, wow, I'm going to kick ass, to, oh shit. And I'm like, what am I singing again? I don't even know what am I singing? I was off. Off. And that's not good. And so my saving grace was, okay, settle myself down. Hopefully I don't get picked first. Guess who went first? Me. I went up there. My face was numb. I'm thinking, whoa, okay. It's still going to be okay. And I did it a cappella. I didn't even have them play the music for me. I'm like, listen, I'm just going to sing this. And they're like, oh, okay, go ahead. And I got up there. I looked out, and I see all these people looking at me. That was it. I don't even remember my audition. I forgot I forgot everything. I don't remember singing. I just went blah, 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 and I didn't even, I just stopped halfway through my song. Horrible. Probably the worst audition I ever did in my life. I think I did auditions better when I was 15. And I walked off, I sat down, and I had to sit there and listen to everybody else audition. I couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there. I was so disappointed. I was just so sad. My first audition in, like I said, 2 decades. And I failed miserably. And I think that's common. I thought I was ready. I wasn't. I mean, back in the day, I would do a couple auditions a day, or, it was just like breathing. You walked in there, I hope you get it. If you don't, go into my waiter job. And then that was it. And with this, it's like, I really wanted this too. And I actually did get a call, and I got a role, but it's not what I wanted. If I'm going to dedicate, because you got to be at the theater almost every day, and if I was going to do something, it was going to be a nice role. I'm not doing a chorus role or a small role. And I know it sounds horrible, but I'm 48. I'm not, if I was back then, I would have taken anything. But now it's like, but hey, God only knows if I'll get back up there again. I don't know. I want to. I do. And I want to do something good. Maybe I'll just do a play. Maybe I don't know. But those of you are actors that listen to my show, and I know there's a few of you out there, and I know that some of you are doing okay, and you're hopeful, and the best advice I can give you, honestly, the best advice, network your fucking ass off. You could have the greatest talent in the world, but it doesn't mean jack shit if you don't meet people, if you don't go up in every audition imaginable. You gotta rub elbows, go to parties, and do functions and all that stuff. You have to. Make connections. With this day and age, you can send out emails and make contacts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Do it all. Showcase yourself with clips of your talent. Send them out to everybody, anybody. You can't just sit around now, like when I started, and just audition and try to do plays and stuff. The world has changed completely. The more opportunity there is, the more competition there is. And with Nicolas Cage, we're going to get back to him in a second. But on my show, that's my show, The Actors Room. And maybe giving a little advice of my experiences and failings, a little bit of success, not much, mostly failing, but that's an actor's job. They fail, but not Nicolas Cage. With the name change? Valley Girl, he just nails it, right? Have you seen Valley Girl? And it's not bad. And you get to see, for the first time, Nicolas Cage, starring role, being different, being funny, being off, being silly, being sad. I noticed that in Nicolas Cage's characters, he does play lovesick a lot. There's a girl he wants. And, he wants it so bad. You could see it in him. Are these characters that he looks for and wants to play? It seems that way. Or that, that type of character or suits him or he's good at it. Or maybe it's just a circumstance that he gets those roles because that's the kind of person he is. He's lovesick. His next film in 1983, Rumblefish. This is a very good film, black and white, film noir. Francis Ford Coppola, his uncle, does it. Mickey Rourke's in it, Matt Dillon. But let's be honest, this is a Francis Ford Coppola movie, and that's his uncle. And once again, he's helping out on set. Gets another small role. But if you notice in the progression of his acting ability, he does get Valley Girl. Okay. But his uncle still isn't giving him the big roles yet. In The Outsiders, almost an uncredited role, right? In Rumblefish, he gets an extra role, but you see him. He's stepping up in his uncle's films. Maybe Francis is seeing his progression, noticing Nick improving as an actor. So he gives him a small role, a decent small role. And you get to see Nick in a Francis Ford movie. Next up is Racing with the Moon, 1984, with Sean Penn, Elizabeth McGovern, and Crispin Glover. Again, The movie's okay. We got a young Sean Penn. See how this is all coming together, folks? They all just sort of run into each other by chance. In the same year, 1984, he's in his uncle's movie again. And this one's called The Cotton Club. And he plays a feared gangster of note. He has speaking lines in this one. Francis has now seen Nick as an actor that can act. Hey, Nick, you know what? You're ready. And Francis definitely felt that way. And Nick gets speaking roles now in his uncle's films. And you got to think Nicholas was so honored to get this. And you see him in interviews talk about his character in Cotton Club. He gushes over it. And I think that was getting his uncle's approval meant a lot to Nick. And as much as he wanted to stay away from the Coppola name, boy, he didn't want to stay away from his uncle. Obviously, it's not only work, but it's Francis Ford Coppola, right? I mean, it's his uncle. He grew up with him, of course. He's known his uncles forever, since his first memories. And knowing that he's a well-respected director, right? Working with Brando, Duvall, De Niro, all the great ones. And here he is, doing it with his family. And he's got his own name. And he does a good job in Cotton Club. Obviously. He's on his way now. This was big. Valley Girl was definitely a step in the right direction. But the Cotton Club character, the feared gangster, did well. It will get him going in the right direction from now on. Because his next role in the same year, he was busy. 1984, right? A film called Birdie, independent film with Matthew Modine. I watched this in New York City a lot. I loved it. And I like Matthew Modine. And I didn't, at that time, Cage was on my radar. And I came to appreciate Cage. But in Birdie, I loved him in it. And you get to see now, there's something happened with this character in this film for Cage. And it happens in an actor's elevation into getting his work, having it make sense. Sometimes a light comes on. And you can have tons of talent, but it sometimes takes an actor a while to sort of find his way, his path, when it all sort of comes together. And for me, I like to point out what I think is their performance, that it finally clicks. And you go, okay, yep, you can do this. I can see it now. Like, they stepped into the skin. The moments are there. The comfortability. Not overdoing it. It's more natural. That's what Cage did in Birdie. Very unknown film, in my opinion. Under the radar. Good film. Artistic. Independent. Him and Modine did well. And like to point that out. I won't do that with all of my shows, but with some of these actors, I think it's very sometimes obvious when it happens. But for me, it does. And for other actors, they're pretty consistent. But there's a growth with a lot of other actors you see. And I like to see. Because that's just the way it should be. You're not going to be perfect right off the bat. You're going to make mistakes. And that's what makes you great, is the mistakes you make. You go, that didn't work. So you try something new, try something different. You learn from it. It's with anything. It takes practice. You learn how to do it your way. And that's what Nick did. He treated every character importantly to him. It meant something. This is something he wanted to make a mark on. And I think that's understated with Nicolas Cage. I think a lot of people see him as silly. Okay. It's not silly to Nick. This is very serious. The silliness that others might see in Nick's performances, okay, I mean, that's fine, but I mean, I don't know how to say this. He almost got to a certain point in the silliness, okay? Well, some or a lot may see or don't appreciate about it, but there's a method to his madness. There's a reason why he's silly. It makes a note on you, doesn't it? Like, you think about him. You go, Nicolas Cage. I don't know how I feel about him. But he makes you think, doesn't he? I would say most people think he's a pretty good actor, at least. That may not be their cup of tea, but I think they can appreciate what he does. I might be wrong. There might be a lot out there that just don't care for him, period. Then that could be true. So before we go any further, we're over 40 minutes in. I ranted a lot in this episode, and I want to go ahead and state that we're not going to go over all of his work. I like to concentrate on the early stuff that stuck out for me, and then I will mention a few other of his films and then wrap it up. I don't want shows to be 2 hours anymore, and I also want to stay away from breaking it up into parts. So I wanted to go ahead and state that there's just not enough time, and I don't think people want to be bored with talking about it. Every film they did, you don't want to do that. So we're just going to go ahead and point out ones that meant a lot to me, that I thought were significant, and then I'll mention some of his performances recently and any other information that I found that you may like to know. And there you go. So the next one we're going to talk about. This one I just watched because of Nicolas Cage, I'll be honest with you. It's a Francis Ford Coppola film. No way, Jeff. Francis Ford Coppola? Who's that? Oh, that's Nicolas Cage's uncle. Yeah, Francis Ford, he does some films. Well, he did one called Peggy Sue Got Married. That was in 1985. Francis felt Nick was ready, obviously, because he gave him the co-lead. Because Kathleen Turner, who's gorgeous in this movie, in my opinion, body heat in this one, with Romance in the Stone thrown in there. You just don't get, Kathleen Turner. Hey, Kathleen Turner. Need I say more? She looked pretty good in this one. And so did Nick. What a sexy guy. Am I right? No. He went way out there with this character. He made him so cartoonish, where he went as far as you can go without being ridiculous. He went way out there and then brought it as far or near as he could to where it's passable to be a human being. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen Peggy Sue Got Married and have no desire whatsoever to see it, I get it. It's a timepiece movie. It's a going back in time, time travel movie. I like those. If you don't, I get it. Watch it for Nick Cage performance. Please. Please. He has this Gumby voice, he said. He decided, okay, and this is how cocky he was getting, by the way. He's got his uncle just giving him lead roles now. And he looked at the script and went, no, I don't know about this one. This character, it's boring. Well, so, excuse me. Unc, if you have something, in the next couple of years that's a little better, give me a call. Oh, he didn't like his character, right? Your Uncle Francis Ford is giving you a lead role, Nick. He didn't like it. So he said, Francis, Uncle Frank, is it okay if I sort of have fun with this one and take it to places you may not appreciate? And Francis is like, Nick, what are you going to do exactly? I don't understand what you're saying to me. He goes, well, I'll play around with the voice a little bit, do this, do that. Francis is like, okay. He has real nasally voice, and he went way out there, folks. Weird, but I love it. Folks, okay, he was kind of being a dick, and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he simply said, Uncle, this script, and it's kind of corny, and it's way out there, He wanted to have fun with it. He pissed off everybody involved with that picture, and I think he probably pissed off Francis too. Kathleen Turner wanted him fucking gone. And she begged Francis Coppola to fire his nephew. And Francis said it ain't gonna happen. Deal with it. Everybody had to deal with Nick's shenanigans. Being way out there, but I don't know, for some reason, I like it. Because guess what? He wasn't like everybody else. And I think in the safe confines of his uncle's globe of a film here. Okay. Nick knew he wasn't going to be fired by his uncle. He would have had to drop his pants and take a shit on Kathleen Turner's back to get fired from that. And he wasn't going to do that. He was just going to be different. He was going to try something new. He changed his voice, and it sounds ridiculous. Kathleen Turner was like, what is this? What? What am I doing? What, is this guy crazy? This is a joke, right? This isn't going to actually keep going on because actors can do this. They could go way out there and they bring it back and I was just trying something different. We're going to do the scene normal now. The normal never happened on set. Is this going to go on for the whole thing? He's going to have this voice and this hair and this is reality for me during this whole shoot? Yeah, sorry, you're going to have to deal with it. So, do yourself a favor. in the near future, watch Peggy Sue Got Married. And the cast is good. I want to note all the female actresses, Joan Allen, okay? They're all good. I want to note also that Kathy Hicks, excellent. Lisa Persky, and she's in a lot of stuff. A lot of minor characters. I love her. You have a young Jim Carrey. Nick and Jim Singh in this. Kevin J. O'Connor. I love this guy. And notably, Barry Miller. Didn't do enough. If you want to see, Barry Miller won awards on Broadway. Phenomenal actor. Didn't work that much. Maybe he didn't want to. Fucking shame. Love Barry Miller. Gotta move on from Peggy Sue Got Married. I guess I can talk about that one. You have no idea. Maybe its own episode. I've thought about it. But the next one. 1986. Oh boy. Raising Arizona. His weirdness in Peggy Sue Got Married was one of the reasons why he was considered for this part. And I love it. You have cast members on the set of Peggy Sue Got Married thinking, this guy will probably never work again. What a joke. But because of his silliness and his drive to be different, people notice. And they did. Nicolas Cage was perfect to play high. Perfect. He became a bona fide rock star after his performance in this one. He slipped easily into this character because the directors believed in him and gave him the space to do so. He based his character on Woody Woodpecker. It makes sense. He even had a tattoo of Woody Woodpecker on his arm during filming, and want to note that Nicolas Cage is big into tattoos and says that there are significant moments in his life that come around, he says, every 4 to 5 years. And every time a significant moment comes along, he'll signify it with a new tattoo. He states, and I quote, about his tattoos, quote, "They're outward symbols of the inward change within my soul," end of quote. And if you notice in this film, his hair, okay, the bigger and crazier his hair is, the more danger his character's in. And this is noted by the Coen brothers, the creators of this film. For the most part, Nick and the Coen brothers got along, but there were moments of turbulence. I guess Nick wanted to go further than they ever imagined. And although they respected his dangerous outlook, his balls to go out there, they felt, can't go too far, and had to reel him in often. And that's fine. The Coen brothers worked well with Cage. They let him spread his wings. But you do need that restriction. And I think Cage respected that and would sort of be curtailed at times. There are actors that appreciate that. If they're not getting in a direction and just are able to do whatever they wanted, that could be a bad thing. And I'm sure as though his antics or his choices in Peggy Sue were frowned upon, I'm sure Francis reeled him in when needed. Want to go ahead and note a few things about Nicolas Cage's acting up until this point. His instincts rule. His appearance is key. He works from the outside in. And Hunter and Cage had incredible chemistry. And before we move on to Moonstruck, the next one we're going to talk about, I want to dive a little deeper into working from the outside in. A lot of actors like to do the opposite. They work from the inside out. Cage liked to get his appearance settled first. How is this character going to look? What's his hair like? What clothes is he wearing? Does he have tattoos? Does he bathe regularly? Things like that. The appearance would help him digest his dialogue and everything that made up that character. Someone like a Cage liked to work that way. And another actor that just comes to mind was Olivier. He worked tremendously from the outside in. Felt that he didn't have to really go too deep with emotion and bringing up all that stuff. Olivier felt that that was silly. You're an actor. Act silly. Act sad. Act happy. You're an actor. You don't have to search for when you didn't get that Christmas present. Made you sad? Don't have to think about that. I'm just going to act sad. That was Olivier. The greatest pretender ever. But they all can't be Olivier. And Nick Cage says, although I do work from the outside in, he does use that technique, a method. He says he will tap into sad things to cry, emotional things to get him somewhere, and he will use both aspects. Moonstruck, 1987, working with Cher and the casting director. Hit this. The casting director on this film loved his Peggy Sue character so much, it got him in the door. It's amazing. I don't know. I find that incredible. Cher wanted Cage over actor Peter Gallagher. I guess it was either going to be Gallagher or Cage. Cher preferred Cage because he was different. Not like a normal, She felt she can have more fun and better chemistry with Cage. So him being different, him being weird, turning people off, got him roles and doing interesting work. I want to note the hand scene was inspired by actor Rudolph Klein Rossi from the film Metropolis, way back in the day. Metropolis is an old movie, but he used character and scene from Metropolis to inspire him to do that really strange hand scene in Moonstruck. Moonstruck is a great film, and critics say about Cage's performance that he was a romantic clown. Oof. I don't know if that's good or bad or both. Cage loves romance, he says. It shows much emotion, yes, because you go from elation to anger. I do see overacting by Cage in this film. It's there. And as much as I love the film, and as much as I love Cage, he overacts in this movie. Does he do it on purpose? Maybe. But I don't know, because he brings it down so much in other parts of this character. So, what's he doing? Does he think to himself, I have the opportunity here in this scene, this block of time within a scene, to really be different. And he goes there. And if the director keeps it, it's a victory. So maybe, just maybe, the director of this film felt his overacting was fine for the character. I want to make a note of a 1990 film called Wild at Heart. This is a David Lynch film. It's one of my favorite Lynch films. Cage is excellent. William Dafoe. Yo, boy. William Dafoe. Creepy dude. Okay, period. He just is. I love Dafoe. Love him. I think he's so talented. He is really creepy in this one. Laura Dern, excellent. And I want to note, the snakeskin jacket that Cage wears is his. And he made it a point to the director, Lynch, this is the jacket I'm wearing. There's no discussion. And I'll tell you why. It's a tribute to Brando's A Fugitive Kind. And I go, Thank you, Nick. Brando's performance in The Fugitive Kind is extremely underrated. It just is. There are beautiful moments by Brando. So soft. So is it just what is it about that guy? It was so Brando. And Cage sort of dedicated a part of Brando in this performance. His character. Love it. Great. I guess director Lynch had Cage and Dern spend a weekend together driving in the desert to get to know one another. They were going to be spending a lot of intimate moments on camera. And for them to feel real, he had them spend some time together. And it just makes sense. Okay? It just does. And it worked. Cage said her, Dern and Cage got close. And it worked. And it did wonderful things for the film. If you've never seen Wild at Heart, it's hard to find. A lot of Lynch films are, except for Eraserhead. I think that's available a lot. But Wild at Heart, it's hard to find. But if you can find it, it's worth it. It's out there. It's a Lynch film. But there's something really different about this one. I like the characters in this one above all of the other Lynch films that he's done. I really love the characters in Wild at Heart. I do have a couple of mentions before we get to the big one. Honeymoon in Vegas with James Caan. It Could Happen to You was pretty good. And then you have the holiday film Trapped in Paradise. It's cute. Cage didn't like it, but it's cute. I mean, it's a silly holiday movie. But coming off that movie, Cage was kind of sour. It was looking for something to sink his teeth into. And thankfully, he found something. His agent said, Nick, I got something perfect for you. I think this is it. And it was. Leaving Las Vegas, 1995, is Nicolas Cage's most prolific acting performance he will ever do. And as an actor, probably one of those roles that come around once a decade. That's just reality. And Nick Cage nailed it. Deserved the Oscar he got. It's a simple film, ladies and gentlemen. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Nicolas Cage plays a pathetic but personable alcoholic. And you root for him. You most of the time care for him. But how much can you care for someone that's slowly, or in this case, quickly killing themselves? It's one hell of a film. I watch it often because, I like to watch A1, first class, 100% 10 out of 10 acting. And that's exactly what Nicolas Cage does in Leaving Las Vegas. Okay? And Elizabeth Shue, she does a wonderful job too. I mean, just wonderful. It only took 4 weeks to film. It's a John O'Brien novel, and O'Brien committed suicide a few weeks after the project was greenlit. So, there already was uneasiness about the project. And Cage kind of knew this guy, just subconsciously. They didn't know each other, but Cage kind of channeled him in a weird way. And it's rumored, and I don't know if it's true, it's rumored that Cage gets so into some of his characters, it's scary. He says that sometimes he goes into a hypnotic state. I don't know what that means, but let's just put it this way. He gets into it, and he will really go there, okay, to almost dangerous places. Channeling people, is it possible? But Nick Cage felt that in some way was connected to Jim O'Brien. Because It seems like the one very early scene where he's getting fired and he sits down across from his boss. He's defeated. He's hungover. He's just a mess and knows that he deserves to be canned. And he just out of nowhere says, I'm sorry. The way he says, I'm sorry, that came from somewhere. I believe that. And there was two words that I'm sorry. Because I'm sorry. It's so pathetic and real. Sometimes you get some of the greatest moments and greatest acting from the depths of, just patheticness. And you get that with Cage in this film. Other notes. The primal scream he gives. He says, I am your father in one of the scenes, the casino scene where he's so drunk. And the interviewer asked him, what does that mean? This, I am your father. Was that in the script? He said, no, I was drunk. He was really drunk, by the way. In some of the scenes, Nick Cage went there. He was drunk. He goes, I was a mess. Drunk. And when he's in that character, drunk, he was Jim O'Brien. And that's what he felt Jim O'Brien, being channeled, would say, I am your father. So it tells me that the reason why he was quickly killing himself was the breakup of his family in the film. Not in real life, in the film. That's why he was drinking the way he was. The fact that he couldn't be with his son. I get it. If you took my kids away from me, there's no telling what I would do. And that's the choice Cage made with his character. And he screams it in one of the scenes when he's drunk for real. Not just the character, but drunk for real. Okay, as we wrap up, here are other mentions for Nicolas Cage. The Rock, Con Air, Face Off, good one. John Travolta, yes. Snake Eyes, 8mm, that really woo-woo film with Joaquin Phoenix. If you've never seen 8mm, my wife stays clear of that one, and I get it. Bringing Out the Dead and Gone in 60 Seconds. That's a fun one. Okay, a couple other films I just want to touch on before we end it. The Family Man in 2000 is a Christmas film and very notable to me. It was a very significant time in my life. When I was in New York City, I saw this with my wife and my best friend, my brother. And I was on the fence of either continuing to be an actor / waiter or decide to move home with my wife and start a family. I watched The Family Man in 2000 in a theater just outside of Astoria, Queens, on a Saturday night when this came out, around Christmas, I would presume. And I was so touched by this film, by Nick Cage's performance. The whole family meaning everything. Nothing else is more important than family. And I got it. And it helped me make the decision to move back home. That's significant. That's a big decision right there that I made because of a movie. It really did. I was on the fence. It was this movie that, I mean, when you really think about it, that's a hell of a moment in my life, right? So Nick Cage means a lot to me. That movie means a lot to me. And whenever I see it, I'm very emotional. The movie itself, it's okay. It's a cute movie. And a very underrated one for Christmas. If you've never seen The Family Man, put it in this Christmas. You won't be disappointed. It's good. It really is. And a significant one to me. And it means something to me. Adaptation 2002 was just an acting clinic. Cage, Streep, Chris Cooper, boy. And it's weird. Charlie Kaufman film. I recommend it. because it's strong writing, strong directing, and all three of the actors I just named give top-notch performances. Okay, last mentions as I wrap it up. I'm doing this because the guy has done a lot of fucking work. Matchstick Men, Weatherman, World Trade Center, Joe, Willy's Wonderland, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Of course, you have Renfield. He was surprisingly good in that. Weird. And then you have Dream Scenario. My wife and I watched it just the other night. I don't know. His acting was good, though, I noted. I like him. The movie was, but I liked Nick. And that's what this episode's all about. Dedicating it to Nick, appreciating his work. I appreciate that he likes to be dangerous and take chances. I mean, I think that's probably his greatest asset, right? Being different and taking chances. He's not afraid. He's willing to do it. These are brave actors, brave artists that are willing to put themselves out there, to fall down, to look ridiculous, having people talk to them behind their backs. And you know that's what was going on in a lot of his work. People talking about him. Like, oh, he's a Coppola too. Oh, he's just silly. And that was probably going on early in his career. But he proved them wrong in the end because he is a significant force within the acting community. He's well respected, and he should be. He's a Coppola, so he has the weight. But let's be honest. There aren't many actors that can hold a candle to Nicolas Cage. Just being known as an actor to take notice of. And thank you for listening to this edition of The Actors Room. My name's Jeff. Please support the show. I'm going to be really trying to put out new shows, and there's going to be a little bit of a change that I want to kind of let people know about who listen to my show. I'm going to be juggling doing acting stuff, movies, actors, directors, whatever, and documentaries. I did some research and I look at my shows and what gets hits. My actors and all the acting I talk about, it doesn't get that many hits as opposed to my documentaries. If you went on YouTube, and YouTube definitely is a different animal. People that listen to my show mostly do it on iTunes and things like that. But YouTube is a whole other animal, monster. And the numbers are just off the charts different. For example, I have done probably 10 docs. The one documentary on YouTube has like 60,000 hits. 60,000. Where on the other hand, a Jack Nicholson episode has like 20. 20. Okay? 60,000, 20. Other docs have thousands of hits. Thousands. I'm lucky if I get 100 on an actor. 100! So I'm looking at this going, nobody on YouTube gives a rat's ass about actors. And maybe I should just, try to level it out a little bit, do a movie, and then do a doc. Do an actor, then do a doc. The docs I'm going to do may be close related to acting. So maybe if I, juggle it correctly, it won't be that strange. I want to keep the audience I've built, and I'm sure it's on rocky ground right now because, I haven't been up to the task. I hope that changes. I say that a lot, and then you don't hear from me for months. But hopefully I'll be inspired to do more work. And I hope all you out there having a great day, experiencing life, living it to the greatest of your ability. And when I say that, appreciating every day, even if it's bad. Hey, most of us have more bad days than good. Maybe you're a lucky one. Maybe you have more good days than bad. Me personally, I've had more good days than bad lately, and I'm so thankful. Because I haven't felt well, when you don't feel well, almost every day sucks. Because guess why? You don't feel well. You struggle to do pretty much everything. Now that I'm feeling better, weight's been lifted. I'm just, the teeth, they are what they are. But they don't bring down my day. Like, I could deal with the tooth issue and be like, but when there's other stuff going on, it affects you. So I hope all you out there are feeling well and enjoying your life, enjoying your family, taking in that movie. Entertainment. It'll save us. It really is something that you can look forward to. Your favorite show. Something you haven't seen in a while. Check it out. I've been doing this thing in the summer for the past 5 years. I will pick an artist or a band, and I will listen to everything they've done. For example, it started with David Bowie. I wanted to listen to everything that David Bowie ever did. And I did that one summer, and it was a wonderful ride. So I decided to do it again a couple of years ago with Pink Floyd. I listened to everything Pink Floyd ever did, even with Sid way back in the day, Sid Barrett, all the way up into, whatever, their latest album. And that was great. I didn't know how much I could really appreciate Pink Floyd until I listened to everything they've done. So this year, I'm enjoying Nine Inch Nails. I know there's probably a lot of my audience that may not like Nine Inch Nails or Trent. I do. I think he's a genius. I think he's brilliant. Some people say he stole from artists. Artists do that all the time. They say the greatest artists steal. And then they make it their own and they do wonderful work. I think Trent Reznor is brilliant, and I'm enjoying just going on that magical ride. Things from his first album all the way up until today. And right now, I'm about a quarter of the way through. I just started, I just finished The Fragile. And now I'm going to dive into his next album. Was it With Teeth? Something like that. That will be the next one. I'll be honest, there are some albums I have not heard of Nine Inch Nails. I like his early stuff. Pretty Hate Machine, I've listened to 1,000 times. I love every song in that album. It reminds me of my childhood. When I first started driving, I listened to that tape every day. And it means something to me. I'm a very sentimental guy, if you haven't noticed. And I love the older songs that remind me of my childhood. Significant moments in my life. I listen to Nine Inch Nails and Pretty Hate Machine, and it takes me back. But I want to really respect Nine Inch Nails and go through it and experience all that I can. Take it in. Really listen. Not just hear it, but listen. It's a difference. Feeling it. I swear to God, I was listening to one of his songs, and my tooth was bothering me the other day. I'm driving home, and the song, it made me feel better. It's weird. Is that? It was called A Warm Place. And he put me in a warm place. Like, my tooth felt better. The song was unfortunately only 2 minutes long. And I was like, as soon as it ended, the pain came back. Folks, the mind is a crazy thing. And so am I guess. We're going to end it right now. Thanks for listening. Hope you're well. Join me next time. But God bless you. Have a good one.